Generally speaking, when you end a first date, running down the street and shouting apologies over your shoulder at your date, it's not a good sign. But in this case, it actually turned out okay. So the story begins, I recently found myself single after being married for 21 years. I know, right? And so, the last time I had a first date was 1994. Some people here may not have been born in 1994. 1994, in 1994, I carried a pager, and that was cool. So a lot has changed since then. The dating world has changed since 1994. So I did what any self-respecting professional would do, is I decided I need to study up on dating. So I went on the internet, the source of all useful information, and read everything I could get my hands on about dating. And you may be surprised to hear this, but when you go on the internet, you don't necessarily find a consensus of opinion about things like dating. So I studied all the different points of view and kind of memorized it, and once I felt like I was prepared for this incredibly scary thing, I procured myself a date with an actual real live human female for the first time in 21 years. And that date was at this very restaurant. We had lunch. Yeah, I invited a girl to lunch, and we met, and she was beautiful, and she smelled good, and I used all my witty banter and all the tips about conversation, and I was interested and asked lots of questions. I didn't talk about sex. I was very perfect gentleman. It was awesome. And this date was going great. I was so amazed at how good I was at this after 21 years. Who knew? Because let me tell you, in 1994, I was not good at dating. Flash forward to 2015, suddenly I'm good at dating. This is like a revelation. So we reached the end of the date, and going through all the mental checklists in my mind, I decided that because the date had gone so well, of course I had to kiss her at the end of the date, because that's what you do. So I walked her to her car right outside, and I leaned in for a nice hug, and my brain is completely prepared to kiss this girl. My limbic system, which is where your adrenaline is, was not ready to kiss this girl. And I had a massive fight or flight response. And neither of those responses is really helpful when you're about to kiss a girl, because you're either going to punch her in the face or run away. And that doesn't really work. So I leaned in for the hug, and I came out, and my heart was pounding, and I was terrified. So I went back in for another hug to kind of stall a little bit. And she's not very tall. She's about as tall as this mic stand is. So in order to get her to kiss me, I had to get her to look up a little bit, because otherwise I'd hit her right in the forehead. So second hug, and I back off, and I just shout out the first thing that comes to my mind, which is, "Oh, just kiss me already." And her face comes up like she wants to be kissed. And not wanting this window of opportunity to close, like a viper, like a cobra, just bam! I go in, and I probably got like a third of her lips. The rest was kind of over in this area. And as I pulled back, I immediately realized that I had made a terrible mistake in judging the situation, and I was a complete fool, because the look on her face was not, "Oh, this, I'm having a great date and this is wonderful." It was complete confusion. I've since discovered that she was not entirely sure that it was a date. I had neglected to make it clear that this was a boy-girl date, not just two people going out to lunch, which I have learned is something you're supposed to do. So she's completely confused. I've just kind of jammed my face into hers at high velocity, hit a little bit of her lips, and stepped back. And so then I spit out the first thing which came into my mind, which was, "I'm sorry, I'm really rusty, and I haven't done this in a long time." Which no girl wants to hear when she's just been, mauled by some guy. So then I, reevaluating my options, fight or flight, I chose flight, and I took off down the street, shouting apologies over my shoulder as I went. "Sorry, I'm really rusty. I swear I'm better than this." Meanwhile, because she's very sweet, she was trying to tell me it was okay. "Oh, it's fine. It was cute." Which is not what you want to hear, that you're cute on a date. But she's, "Oh, it's good, it's fine, I understand, it's great." And I'm getting farther and farther away. "I'm sorry, I want another chance. Doesn't count as a first kiss." And once I get out of earshot and we kind of stop our mutual apologies, I got back to my car, and I set my car, and I think to myself, is this what I have to look forward to? This is really awful and terrifying. I didn't enjoy this at all. I mean, the part before the kiss was good, but the kiss part was terrible. And so I started driving home, feeling just absolutely awful and abysmal. And then about 2 minutes later, my phone rang. And it was this girl. And she wanted to make sure that I was okay. And I said, well, no. It was terrible. And she told me that it was all right, and she has a lot of guy friends, and she knows how hard dating can be, and she understands that I was rusty. But she thought it was very cute and endearing, and that I was a nice date. And so I asked her at that point if we could have a second date, a boy-girl date. And she said yes. And it turns out that this emotional vulnerability and honesty actually worked. And there she is, right there.